Yo, it's your boy Ray Mabry, and on today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about how you can make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month wholesaling houses. That's right, an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month wholesaling houses. Right now, I'm currently here in Baltimore, Maryland, in West Baltimore, and this is a property that I just locked up about a week ago. I met the seller here. It used to be a property that he grew up in, and he's owned it for several years. His parents left it to him, and now he's just ready to liquidate it. So you'll get a chance to see the inside of the property and take a look to see the condition of it. And as you can see, a pretty busy street here, but this is an ideal location for a long-term buy and hold investor. So let's take a look on the inside and you'll see what I'm talking about. One thing to keep in mind when you look at these properties is there's different kinds of buyers. Now, this is a property based on this location. It's really not what you call a fix and flip. This property is more so going to be for buy and hold investors, as stated before. So you're looking more so for cash flow than what it really is worth, the after repair value, what it's worth on the market. Because the buyer that buys this property, they're more than likely going to use it as a rental. So keep that in mind when you're looking at properties. That's one key point when you out here, you're looking at properties and you're negotiating. You have to think about your end buyer. This, because of the location of this property, more than likely you're not going to have a rehabber come in here, rehab it, and sell it for top dollar. Because a lot of times people that live in this particular area, they're looking to rent. So keep that in mind. This is a powder room that the sellers actually had installed several years ago. As you can see, the kitchen here, and you do have a walk-through dining room as well. Immediately you will see, the carpet is stained and it's dated, but ideally this house does not need a lot of work to get a tenant inside. And so I'm gonna take you upstairs and let you see the upstairs as well. The stairs are kind of tight, but believe it or not, in this area, this is a pretty nice house. The rooms are huge too, so depending on the size of the family, you probably can get multiple beds in the property. We've got the old school closet with the mirror. This is the front of the property, so you can get a chance to look outside and see. And as I stated, this is an ideal location for a buy and hold investor. They can come in, spend a few $1,000s to get it cleaned up, maybe redo the floors, probably can do some painting, but it has paneling siding, so they probably won't even do any type of painting in here. This is bedroom number 2. And as I stated before, you get a chance just to see how this house is laid out. Look at this calendar, 2002. Yeah, this property has been in the family for a long time. And the seller's just ready to liquidate. Then you go down this long hallway and you'll see the shared bathroom as well as the third bedroom. So this is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath property. And this is bedroom number 3. And it does have the drop ceilings, the tiles and stuff in the ceiling. So you may want to come get some of those replaced. But all in all, a pretty solid property for the buy and hold investors. As I said before, this is not a fix and flip deal. Now, I can't give you the numbers on this property, but I will tell you, based on what we have under contract and what we're looking to sell it for, we've got somewhere between a $15,000 and $18,000 spread. Between a $15,000 and $18,000 spread. Now, will we get that much? Probably not. But, if the goal is to make a net an additional $5,000 or $10,000 per deal, then this particular property fits that criteria. So, when you're out here marketing and stuff, one thing to look for is when you're negotiating with the seller, you got to have your buyer, your end buyer in mind. Even if you don't have a buyer's list, you have to look at the property, assess the area, assess the neighborhood, and decide, is this going to be a fix and flip or just going to be a buy and hold? and then you have to price it accordingly. So we were able to offer the seller or counter offer the seller more money on this property just because of the condition that it's in now and where it's located versus if we was trying to market it to an end buyer that's going to fix and flip it. So just keep that in mind when you're out here and you're negotiating. Make sure you keep your marketing out there. Make sure when you're talking to sellers that you find out what their situation is, how much they need for their property, not want. When we was talking with this seller, we were able to get him down some off his price because we realized that even though he needed a certain amount, even though he wanted a certain amount, he would take a little less. And this particular property here does have sentimental values to him. So obviously he couldn't take but so much, but at the same time, he is ready to liquidate and go ahead and move on with life. So when you're out here looking at properties, when you're out here negotiating with sellers, make sure you find out or just keep in mind who your end buyer is going to be. And then from there, you want to make sure that you go and you make it a win-win situation for everyone involved, the seller as well as your buyer. Price your properties aggressively and then put it in the open market to see who's going to be the end buyer. Now, on this particular property here too, I am networking with another local investor that has a pretty big buyers list. And that's another thing that you want to keep in mind. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. This property here is in Baltimore, Maryland. I don't have a pretty extensive buyers list. So sometimes it's good to tap into other investors' buyers list and you pay them a referral fee. I'm not doing a 50-50 JV split on this deal, but I will pay them a flat referral fee once we get this property sold and on any other properties that we end up selling together. So if you want to go out here and make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month wholesaling, what you got to do is when you're marketing to these sellers, you got to make sure you keep your end buyer in mind, and you have to structure these deals and price them accordingly. If it's in an area that there's a lot of rehabs going on and people are selling for retail, then you have to negotiate and you have to factor in the rehab costs and the holding costs and your profit, of course, to figure out if this is going to be a deal that you can profit off of. If you're in a neighborhood like this where there's more rentals than anything, then what you have to do is just keep in mind what does this property rent for and then price it accordingly. But I'm telling you, all it takes is 1 to 2 deals a month to make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 per month wholesaling houses. That's it. It doesn't take 20 and 30 deals to make that kind of money. You don't have to make $1,000 to $2,000 per deal. You could easily go out here and make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 per month just wholesaling 1 to 2 deals. I do it each and every month, and I know you can go out here and do the same thing. So anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Go out here, continue to market. Go out here and continue to service people. And let's go out here and make a difference. This is going to be your year. Continue to confess it. Continue to proclaim it. But you can go out here and you can make an extra $5,000 to $10,000 per month just wholesaling alone. We're not even talking about any of the other creative deals or even rehabbing. If you start doing those more advanced techniques, then obviously you can make more money. But I appreciate your time. This is your boy Ray, maybe about to sign off. And until next time, peace.